Dean Phillips launched his long-shot effort to provide a Democratic alternative to President Biden. Now the Democratic establishment appears to be up in arms that he could somehow hurt President Biden's chances.
I really don't see what he's doing.
And I do believe that what Dean Phillips is doing here is disrespectful to the titular head of our party, the President of the United States.
The left-leaning media now joining forces, it seems, against Phillips.
If this were actually an existential crisis in the Democratic Party, if people were all trying to run away from Biden, you would have a Governor Newsom, a Governor Whitmer, a Governor Westmore running. They're not.
I think if you are going to take on a president who has done so much for this country so far and has restored in many ways the soul of this country, which was his promise, you got to have some kind of name recognition, I think.
Who do you have endorsing you at this point? Anybody?
Jim, I'm so glad you asked, because therein lies exactly the mission of my campaign.
But you didn't mention anybody who's endorsing you at this point.
No, I've said very distinctly, nobody in Congress.
At some point.
Yes, no one in Congress is endorsing it. Biden's job approval rating among Democrats has tumbled 11 points in the past month to 75%, the worst of his presidency from his own party. I don't understand what Democrats are afraid of. What is he going to do that is going to hurt Joe Biden? Back with us is Steve Israel, former Democratic congressman from New York, Scottie Nell Hughes, former Trump campaign surrogate, and Patrick McEnroe, media commentator, former pro tennis player. Steve, what are Democrats afraid of with regard to this?
I think most Democrats view this as an annoyance and not existential.
But why is it even an annoyance? I mean, he goes around praising Biden all the time.
Yeah,
he's like
well,
Vivek. He's Vivek Ramaswamy for the left. Right, Vivek goes, oh, Donald Trump is the best. He's the best.
VP. Then
right.
Get rid of
yeah.
Every presidential campaign needs a rationale. Here's Dean Phillips' rationale.
Right.
I love Joe Biden. I voted for every single thing he wanted. I helped shepherd those things through. I just wish he was younger.
Yeah.
You're not going to raise hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's fine.
And motivate your turnout based on
Let's
that
agree
rationale.
he's not going to win, right? What I don't understand is what are Democrats so afraid of? You know, they seem really angry at Phillips about this. Why would he run? Why would he do this? Who cares?
Because he's taking a page and maybe opening up a new book for the Democratic Party from the Republicans. Because when you look at the field, who runs for Republicans, it turns out they end up getting some sort of name notoriety. Democrats have done a good job in the past. I mean, hello, you look at Tulsi Gabbard got so demonized by the Democratic Party. She's now on another network, on a conservative network. Pete Buttigieg got involved in the Biden campaign, but Tom Steyer, Bernie Sanders, everybody takes a major hit and become less relevant following their run. Republicans, we do a great job, regardless if you're going to win or not. We make you more famous. We make you a part of this celebrity political culture that conservatives have if you run for president, even though you never had a chance and you actually hurt the overall cause. That's what I think Democrats are more worried about. Are they going to start following this Republican tradition of making political celebrities off of who runs for president?
We have a saying from the sports world, about the Buffalo Bills, the football team. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, right? Nobody circles the wagons like the Democratic Party. Okay, because to your point, they're saying if you go up against he's our guy. For better or worse. Of course, many of us are talking about, he's getting a little old, he's getting up there. Do we really want this guy being president at 85, 86? So they're going after old Dean in their own way to say, listen, we've decided, they did this with Bernie Sanders, right? And Bernie had way more credibility and way more popularity than this guy.
But what happens if Biden in the next year gets ill? I mean, and what, so it's Kamala Harris becomes the choice?
Maybe it's Dean Phillips.
Right, that's my point. My point is, why wouldn't Democrats want someone who goes around? Let me play a little bit of how he talks about Biden, okay? This is Dean Phillips, is number 4.
I think President Biden has done a spectacular job for our country. President Biden has delivered the most important thing that this country has ever needed, and that is competency in lieu of chaos. I would like to see Joe Biden, a wonderful and remarkable man, pass the torch.
But again, he keeps talking about how amazing he is, and so he's going to be there in the background in case something happens to Joe Biden, so there's a potential backup. What's the big deal?
Well, I just think it's amusing that not only does the guy not have any endorsements, but he just keeps endorsing Joe Biden.
Yes.
That's not a great campaign.
Well, but this is
strategy.
Vivek. This is Vivek Ramaswamy. I mean, I interviewed him on my show, and all he did is tell me how great Donald Trump was. Don, what do you disagree? I don't disagree with Donald Trump on anything. I think Donald Trump is terrific. I just think I'm younger than he is. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.